Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bilbo Baggins Corner, where the bags fly high across the Virginia sky. It's the BBC, come talk with me. Bilbo Baggins Corner, best in the league. Yeah, the BBC, that's community. Powered by Buddy Beverage Company.
Yeah, buddy. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Bilbo Baggins Corner. Tonight's guest is none other than the number 18 director in North America, the number one local director in North America, one half of 2026's Las Vegas Doubles Senior Open, and right now, currently ranked number 21 in the state of Virginia. Man, the guy some of us love to hate, none other than Michael the Legend Anderson. Mike,
What's up, bro?
how you doing? Welcome to Bilbo Baggins Corner, man. Glad to have you as a guest on the show.
You don't have to stop. You can keep going and tell me how great I
am. Don't worry, we'll do that later.
Nah.
We'll do that later. But for the people that don't know, tell us how long you've been throwing.
So yeah, competitively, probably I had some memories pop up the other day. So competitively, probably 5 to 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
ACL.
Yeah.
Did you ever throw ACL?
No, I did. Before I got into being a director and now a pro and stuff like that, I did do bag reviews for this ACO company, bag company out of Alabama. But I never played ACO. But it's cornhole, man. The rules are pretty much the same, and the bags are pretty much the same. But yeah. So
how did you get started?
Yeah, I tell you, that's a funny story. So growing up in Alabama, cornhole had this whole different connotation, right? It was it definitely wasn't
the game.
No. And so when I was teaching, and Kenny can remember this, when I was teaching on Mondays, I'd go to class on Mondays, and I'd take the first 15 to 20 minutes to say, hey, how was your weekend, and blah 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 blah. Give people a time to sort of chill out and just sort of ease their way into the day. Mm-hmm. And one day this guy raised his hand. He said, I had the best weekend I've ever had. I said, really? I said, what'd you do, man? He goes, man, I played cornhole all weekend. And I'm like, what? Yeah, man. Me and my two buddies, we drank beer and played cornhole all weekend. And of course, on the inside, I'm like, what the hell? Because I didn't know anything about the game, right? And so he must have sensed that, because on break he called me over to his computer. He goes, here, let me show you what I'm talking about. And so he showed me. I'm like, damn, that looks pretty cool. And so naturally, being the inquisitive person that I am, I started researching it and downloaded some board plans and built my own set of boards. Went up to Ace Hardware, no shit, and bought a 2 sets of bags that had corn in it, which you could still get at Ace Hardware.
Okay.
And that's how we started. And then I started seeing online, people with regular bags. About that was about the time that Cornhole Ace came onto the market. Mm-hmm. So I got some regular bags from them and started throwing, and went to my very first tournament at PBR. I just wanted to see how I compared, and I did okay. I didn't suck,
right?
And then I went to my next tournament was at Hoss's, and I was the walker and finished 4th. I'm like, yeah, I can do this, and the rest is history, man. I've been
going ever since.
Yeah. So,
man. So what bags are you currently using right now? Your go-to bags, your top 3 bags?
Well, there's only one
There's
bag.
Only one.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Apex Surface.
So that's your money bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen. I had the pleasure of throwing the Mike Anderson signature bag.
Yeah. I
So
know
you're
them bitches are
sponsored by
money too, aren't they?
yeah,
Right?
money.
Yeah.
So you're sponsored by Siva also.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when I became a pro, um,
And tell us, man, what was it like when you got your when
dude,
tell
so,
tell
so I'm going
tell
to,
us.
so you got to go back 2 years,
Go,
right?
come on, tell us.
So in
Go.
the fall of 2023, my game was sucking so much ass that I was literally going to tell Kathy Rockwell, because she was the regional director. I was going to tell her, move me down to back down to intermediate. I think my PPR was like a 7.23 or some shit like that. And in October, me and Billy Beverly played in the first regional, and we won competitive doubles, which was our second regional that year. And man, one day I woke up and I was thinking about cornhole, and I was sort of looking myself in the mirror. I'm like, look, dude, you're never going to be a pro. You're never going to be as good as the Gabe Clausens and the Devin Harbaughs and those types of people. Just accept your game where it is, and make the most of it. And I don't know, it's like this
Made a deal with
weight
the
was
devil.
lifted. I was no longer putting pressure on myself. And so by the end of that year, 2023, 2024, I got my PPR up to 815. And then I was still in competitive, and my mindset was, oh man, I'm not playing advanced. I'm gonna make them move me up, blah 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 blah, which is the worst mindset you could have. And so, 2024, I hooked up with Brian Peed going into 2024 and 2025, and we started playing it. We played advanced doubles together, and I found out that the abilities between, when now it's tiers 1, 2, and 3. The abilities between those three tiers is really, it's really not that much. Man, it's just it's a couple of bags off the board here and there, And so by the end of the 2025 season, I got my PPR was up to, I don't know, 8.6, 8.63, and I was going down to Rock Hill and for the World Championships, because I was going to play in USA Forces.
Okay.
And I told my wife, I said, I said they've changed the way that people can qualify to be a pro, and now they've got a path for seniors, juniors, and women's to become a pro.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I think I'm going to play in the senior qualifier, just to see. So I did, and you played 6 games, and after 6 games, they take the top 8.
Okay.
And after 3 games, I was 1-2, right? So I messaged my wife. I said, yeah, I said, I just lost my second game. I said, I'm probably not going to make it. And so, again, I just sort of chilled out and just uh, played. And the way they do tiebreakers is point differential, right? Well, it just so happens I went 1-2, and then I went 3-0. And in one of my games, in a 3-0 game, was 28-0.
Wow.
So I had that 28-point differential. And um, so we get done. I'm 4-2, and I'm going into the last game. I was number 10.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, I think I've got a chance. If I have a good last game, uh, and if somebody doesn't want to be a pro, or they don't make it or whatever, I've got a chance to move up 2 spots. And so I went to my last game, won that. So now I'm sitting at 4-2, and I have no idea what my differential is. I wasn't calculating it, and I looked at the standings, and I was standing around with Chris Michaels and his wife and a couple of other people, because Chris's wife was going through the women's qualifier.
Okay.
And I looked at it, I said, damn, I said, I'm still 10th. I said, I don't think I'm making it. They said, no, they don't update the standings until all the rounders are done. And so we're standing around, And so they announced, they said, okay, that was the last game of rounders, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do such and such, such. So I went on there and I looked at the app, and I'm number 7. I was like, what the hell? And I turned around, showed it to Chris. I said, Chris, what are you seeing? What I'm seeing? You know?
Right.
And he goes, yeah. I said, well, I'm gonna go over to the director's desk and ask them, right? So I go to the director's desk. I talked to Chris Buchanan. I said, Chris, I said, but before I go there, I got to preface this by saying that there were 2 or 3 people that had talked to me and said, look, man, even if you qualify, don't get too excited, because I qualified last year and then they took it away from me,
Okay.
right? So I had that going on in the back of my mind. So I went to Chris Buchanan. I said, Chris, this is what I'm seeing, man. Does that mean that I've qualified? He said, yeah. He said, we got to check a couple things, and then we'll make the official announcement. So on the one hand, I'm sort of excited, but on the other hand, I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're standing around. I'm over here watching. I can't remember who I was watching. I was watching something. And they got on the loudspeaker and said, congratulations, the following people qualified as a senior pro. And they called my name. And about 5 minutes later, I got the official letter official email from the ACL. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? I mean, because I just went down there on a whim. Right. And it was awesome. But the best thing about it was there's a guy in Northern Virginia. His name is Charles Agee. You've probably seen him down at Waterside. Well, he was my first loss. He beat me 21-0. But he qualified number 8. I qualified number 7.
Oh.
So.
Got you, bitch.
And so, man, it was just surreal, man. You know, because 2 years ago I had basically told myself that I would never be a pro.
And now you're here.
And I'll be honest with you, man. When I saw that email, man, I sort of teared up.
Yeah, man, yeah.
And so Brian Peed, he had already qualified. He qualified through some other way, but he had already qualified. He was on his way back to Hampton. I called him. I said, dude, I said, game on, man. I said, I qualified. And so he got as excited as Brian gets. And that's how it happened, man. I just went through the qualifier on a whim and did what I had to do. But it's been great, you know.
So you went down. How was the Vegas Open? Mr. Senior doubles champion.
Yeah, well, Vegas is Vegas, man. I mean, but
what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
So last year they lost a lot of money at the Vegas Open, right, because of the venue. And so in order to offset that, they got a smaller venue this year, and it sold out like that.
Yeah, because I remember CJ was supposed to go. I was talking about going, but when he got up there.
So the only reason that I was going is Wayne Irby had a free entry into open doubles. And he said, man, if you want to go, he goes, we'll use my entry and we'll play doubles together. And I said, okay. I said, let's go ahead and do USA Forces too, you know, because if you win USA Forces, then you get an automatic entry into the World Championships. And so he's like, yeah, man, let's do it. So I messaged the national director, Athena Delgado. I said, hey, is there a waiting list for senior singles and senior doubles? Because if there is, you know, please put me on it. So I went on the ACL for the pros. They use the Slack channel. I don't know if you're familiar with Slack. It's sort of like a Teams thing, and I put on there and said, hey, I'm going to Vegas. I'm not registered in senior doubles, but if anybody's looking for a senior doubles partner, I'm on the wait list, blah, 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 blah. And this guy messaged me from Kansas. Ken asked. And
so you didn't know your partner?
I didn't know him.
Okay.
And So we get there, and the day of USA Forces, uh, senior doubles was later, but USA Forces, and then it was. So I went to the desk. I said, hey man, I said I'm on the waiting list. I said, what's it looking like for senior doubles? He goes, I can get you in there. So I got put in there, and I told my partner Ken. That's when I finally met him. Was in Vegas. I said, look, man, this is what's going on. I said, I'm playing USA Forces. I said, but if I make a deep run, there may be an overlap to senior doubles. And they've already told me that if I'm making a deep run in USA Forces, I can't play senior doubles. I said, I just want to let you know that. Okay, that's cool. So at 3:20, the senior doubles is supposed to kick off at 4 o'clock, right? 3:20, I go to the director's table and I said, look, I'm making a very deep run in USA Forces. I said, am I going to have to withdraw from that, or do you want to wait and see how my next game plays out? He said, well, when do you play your next game? I said, they're waiting on me now. He said, well, go play your next game and we'll see what happens. He said, but if you win, then you're not going to be able to play senior doubles. And we were playing for the 5th place, to see who goes to 4th place. It just so happens we lost, right? It's 10 till 4. The tournament starting in 10 minutes. I find this guy that wanted to be my partner. I said, hey man, I said, I just lost in USA Forces. I said, I'm gonna go over there and try to get us in. I go over there and I said, hey, put this guy in as my partner if we're still in. They're like, okay. So they put him in. I went back to him. I said, hey, we're in, right? So we got in USA Forces. First game just destroyed it. I mean, we just killed it. It was like romper room, Second game, we got there. We made it interesting. We were up big. We were up 18-9, 18-10. Let them back in 18-16 and everything. We pulled it out. But there was a team there from Northern Virginia. His name is Lee Tibbs and Steve Schrader. They're both senior pros. Steve Schrader is not only a senior pro, but he's a top 100 pro in all of ACL. They were there. So I'm like, okay, they were in the opposite bracket. I said, that's probably, going to be the team to beat. And their third game, they lost and got put in the loser's bracket. And I went to my partner. I said, hey, dude, I said, Lee and Steve just lost. I said, this tournament is ours to lose. I mean, that's how good I felt because I was throwing good. He was throwing good. And we beat this team for the king seat. And Lee and Steve, they ended up taking third. And so the team we beat for the king seat, we played them again in the championship game. And we were up big, 18-6. And again, we let them back in, and they got down to 18-16 or 18-17 or something like that. And both my partner and my opponent's partner both had their first 3 bags in the hole. His partner threw his 4th bag off the board. My partner put his bag in the hole for 3 points in the win. And it was pandemonium after that, dude. It was crazy. But it was good. It was nerve-wracking because there's a lot of people there watching and stuff, and you're on a much bigger stage than you are in a regional or a local tournament. And it was just another surreal moment, and and now all of a sudden these people hey man, you want to partner up, you want to like,
yeah, I mean, after Jake Brennan calls your name out on the
yeah. Well,
you want to know about Michael Anderson.
Well, here's the funny thing about that story. He says that I don't know who these guys are. When we were in Memphis, I was his dad's senior doubles partner, and I talked to Jake 2 or 3 times, right?
Right.
So I don't think he put it together.
Yeah.
But even though he said that, it was still a nice call out, right?
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, the attention,
So,
man. Yeah, no. Like you said, now everybody's calling, man.
Yeah, it was cool. it was just a surreal thing, man, because you go to these big tournaments, these opens and stuff, and you're always like, man, I want to win. It'd be nice to win, but you always felt like it was you wouldn't be able to, right?
Mhm.
That for whatever reason you had imposter syndrome or something like that, and that winning a big open is saved for other people, and I'm that other people now. You know, once I got past
I'm on
that,
that list.
once I got past that imposter syndrome and I convinced myself that I belonged there, uh, it was good. And I ended up for the tournament, I ended up shooting a 9.95. I was number
Okay.
2 in PPR, and my opponent was number 4. And yeah, it's hard to explain, man. But it was cool. It was cool, man.
So you any more opens you're going to this year? Any more plans?
Yeah. So as a pro, if you're trying to requalify, they have 6 signature opens, and they take your 4 best. So you have
Okay.
to go to at least 4. Regular opens, they don't really
Count those.
count for much except for your regular pro points.
Mhm.
But I'm going to Kansas City. Um, Today's Thursday, so 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
It's a signature tournament.
Okay.
I'm going to Kansas City for sure in March. April will be Cleveland. Uh, I don't think there's a signature in May, and then I definitely want to go to one in Fort Worth in June, which would be 5 signatures. Uh, in May, KB and I may go up to Rhode Island to just a
Okay.
regular open, and then there's a there's an open, a regular open in right outside of Spokane, Washington, in June. I know it seems a little bit off the radar, but the reason it's interesting to me is because my daughter lives in Spokane,
Okay.
and it just so happens the weekend after the open, my oldest grandson is getting married.
Okay.
So the plan is to go to Spokane, uh, play in that open with Wayne Irby. We're gonna play everything, man. Doubles,
Okay.
seniors, USA Forces, and everything. And then I'll stay there the whole week, go to the wedding, and then come back. But
Right.
but now that's a little bit in flux because my son and his wife are having their first baby, and they're due 22nd of
Okay.
June. So I don't know. June's all up in the flux. But yeah, to answer your question, 2 weeks I go to Kansas City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, your favorite venue to play at? Your favorite venue to shoot at?
Um. Well, locally, I'm always partial to Vanguard,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
But you know, um, because of the behind the scenes dynamics with Vanguard and the people, the owner there, NES is really becoming uh, a favorite spot. But there's no place I don't really dislike to play. There's some places that are more difficult to play at than others. Like Eagles
mhm.
Nest is pretty tight, and PBR is a
Nomad.
little bit tight and stuff. But there's still
Nomad.
good venues to play. But if I had to choose, if they were going to say, okay, you have to pick a venue, that's the only place you can play at. If the dynamics were right, it would be Vanguard.
Vanguard.
Yeah.
Vanguard.
So
Vanguard.
because that's where it started for me as a director. You know.
So when did you start? When did you start directing?
Yeah, my first tournament as a director was October the 5th, 2022.
And what made you head down? What made you decide to head down that road?
Well, up to that point, we had been playing at Traditions,
I remember that's where I
right?
started. That was
Tradition
my first
Brewery.
time.
And Shane and Amy McNutt were running that, and they're great people. And they gave that up, and then the person that came in behind them just it didn't manage too well, so we ended up losing that venue. And, and then at Matt Morton's dad started um, Vanguard,
Okay.
and I fell in love with playing down there immediately. And because I had been, I've been friends with Mike for quite some time at that point. And so during that first year, because you got to remember back then, Matt Morton was the hottest player on the planet, right? There's an article out there, and I can send it to you if you remind me. There was an article that came out during COVID that they called Matt Morton the best athlete on the planet,
Okay.
type of thing. Because you got to remember during COVID, the only thing on TV was cornhole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And COVID was the best thing and the worst thing to happen to cornhole. Uh, but so Matt Morton, him and Brad Powers were ever in the finals of the World Championships, and they were one airmail away from being world champions. Man, Brad shot this airmail to win, and it hit, and I swear it did a 360 around that hole and popped out, and they lost the World Championship. And so Mike Morton during that year had been openly accused by a lot of people of rigging the bracket to where Matt always got the best partner, right? I don't know if that was going on. To me, it was unjust. But he was coming up on the year mark, and he was telling me, he's like, man, he says, I don't want to do this shit anymore. He goes, it's just not worth it. And he taught me how to do it. And so, yeah, I became a director. In the first 6 months, while I was directing, I didn't play. I just, ran the tournament to see how it went. And then, it just grew from there. But now, 4 years into it, I can see exactly what Mike was saying, because, I've won a lot of tournaments this year. And of course, I'm being accused of rigging the brackets and stuff like that.
You've been,
You know,
but
uh,
see, and that's the but you're hot. You've been hot. If you look, it doesn't matter. It seems like who you get, you're one, two, or three. You're posting a pick. I don't. The claims are are unfounded.
well, man. So,
Unfounded.
so when you're, so for people out there, let sort of explain how things work. So you have a lot of people in this area that do what they call chasing points, right?
Right.
They're trying to maximize their points for state rankings, whatever. So for the state rankings, you get a maximum number of 1,200 points. They take your top 24 finishes throughout the year, and then you can top out at 1,200 points.
Okay.
So in order to get 1,200 points, you have to win 24 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very few people do that. And last year, I don't know if you remember, man, but it seemed like Caleb Ward was just winning every damn
Yes.
thing.
No. I do remember.
Caleb Ward and Chris Michaels, and you know, and every week it seemed like they would get the better partners. You know, uh, and both of them maxed out their local points last year at 1,200. Right?
Okay.
Nobody batted an eye. Nobody said anything. Right?
Everybody wanted to be Caleb Spartan last
Well, yeah,
year.
and and I think I won last year. I won 9 times. I finished second 17 times, dude. Well, this year, of course, practice. I got a little bit better. I become a pro, and I will admit something happened to my game once I became a pro. Some type of switch flipped, and I've been very fortunate to be blessed with some skills and abilities that have been able to be developed over time. I'm not saying that I'm that much better than anybody else, but I win a lot. Uh, and I'm at the point in my career in my game where you give me a decent partner and we're going to have a chance,
Yeah.
right? But all of a sudden, I've maxed out my local points. 20. I've won. Well, last night was the 26th time. But
So that's when you had the best partners you had probably for a little while was last
well,
night.
well, yeah. So there was, one week I got Chris Michaels, one week I got Josie, one week, but and then you have all these people complaining, right? But yet these same people that are complaining, if you look at their stats now, they've almost maxed out their points. They're at 1190 or 1192 or whatever. And I even have people watch me make the brackets. I either have them stand over me and watch me, or I'll let them push the button. I'm like, here, push this, push. So the likelihood of me being able now, can you rig the brackets? Yes, you can rig the brackets, but it's a very intensive process to do so. It's not something that I can just click a button and say, okay, I'm going to be partners with Greg or I'm going to be partners with Kenny. That shit just doesn't happen. Uh, but even with uh, people watching, you know, I would get decent partners, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is bullshit," blah 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 blah. You've rigged the algorithm and stuff. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
No, I've
And,
heard. I
and
heard with man. Every time I come, he puts me with like certain people that
well,
that
no,
know certain.
I will tell you this. When people first started him hawing about all that, I started tracking it, and I will say that the ACL software and algorithm, it does trend to put like with like, meaning good with good, medium with medium, bad with bad, and stuff like that. I have noticed that trend, uh, but there's nothing I can do. The only thing I can do about it, and I've tried to do it here recently, is do an AB tournament where you basically have 12 A players, 12 B players, and a random A player gets with a random B player, and nobody can bitch.
Yeah.
I was talking to KB about this because I wanted to see if other directors, were having. Of course, Denny Mallon, people have accused him of doing that stuff for years, and I could tell you for a fact that he didn't do that. Um, I was talking to KB, and he's like, dude, he goes, I get it all the time. He goes, I even went to chips and had people draw their own chip, and they still accuse me of rigging the chips. And I'm like, how does that happen? And then he said it got so bad. He said I quit directing for a year just so I wouldn't be involved in the tournament at all, and I still kicked everybody's ass. And I'm like, what's the argument now, right? So as a director, dude, I could give them gold filled bags, gold lined boards, pay their bar tabs, pay their entry fees, pay their food fees. I could provide them with everything under the sun that they need to play in a cornhole tournament. Somebody's going to bitch,
Man, that's life.
you know.
As long as
And
life will be happy.
yeah, but sometimes, man, you just get tired of
Tired
it.
of no. I Now that seems like why a lot of people have stepped away from running tournaments or doing like we're losing the people that that's hosting because of minute little.
Well, you look at the South Side. I mean, the South Side, they have plenty of tournaments, right?
Hmm.
But they don't have anyone over there that runs tournament for points. The only tournament for points they get on the South Side is Monday evenings at
Moment.
Momac, right?
Wow.
And I'll be honest with you, and what I'm about to say, I have not announced to anybody but my wife, but I'm seriously considering walking away from being a director next year because of this. Um, because I just, at this point in my life, I just want to be as drama free as
I feel, man.
possible.
I feel you.
And some it's getting to be more and more where I'm starting to question if it's worth it,
Yeah.
because this is what people don't see, right? So Vanguard, now NES, I don't have to do shit. All I got to do there is just show up because they've already got the boards, right? So for me to run a Vanguard tournament, the tournament starts at 7.
Mm-hmm.
I have to leave my house at 4:30, 2.5 hours early to get there because we have to move tables, we have to move chairs, we have to set up the boards and everything like that. So these people can come in and play cornhole. And then at the end of the night, I have to put everything back. I've got to put all the boards back. I've got to put all the score towers back. They've been on me lately to put tables and stuff back. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit, you know. So if I do direct next year, it's probably just going to be at a place like NES where there's just all I got to do is sit down, run the software, and away we go. But I'm really focused. My primary goal this year as a pro is to requalify. Because I'm gonna tell you, I don't want to go through that qualifier again, man. It's stressful as shit. And if I requalify, then I really want to I really want to put more energy and time into my pro game, um, and less time, directing and stuff like that.
So to requalify, what exactly do you have to do?
That's a great question, man. Nobody knows. Because if you look at last year, the way they did it last year, they take um, they take the top 24, top 36 pro seniors, or if you're top 100 regular pro or whatever. This year, with the way that they created the path for the seniors, juniors, and women's, nobody really knows how what the requirements are to requalify.
Mhm.
But if you use last year as a historical perspective, uh, if you perform well in the signatures, you know, then you should be there. Right now, as a pro senior, I'm ranked number 24.
Okay.
So let's say I maintain number 24. There will be people in that 24 that are not going to do it, next
Right.
year. So my goal is to perform as good as possible at the signatures. And the way that so they've changed the signatures and what you have to do. So it's like golf. Golf you play Thursday and Friday, and depending on your performance, you may qualify for the weekend, right?
Right.
Well, the ACL is going to that format.
Okay.
So at a signature open, Friday morning, we play 5 games, rounders. And, based on your record, will determine whether you qualify for the weekend or not.
Okay.
So, like in Memphis, they were taking the top 24 qualifiers out of, whatever. I don't know how many seniors were there. In Myrtle Beach, they only took the top 20. And then if you make that qualification for the weekend, then you're automatically put into, you know, pro signature doubles and pro signature singles. And so I'm thinking, because right now I've been to 2 signature tournaments and I've qualified for each one.
Okay.
And that's where you get your pro senior points. And so I'm thinking as long as I can continue to qualify and do well, uh, on Friday and qualify for the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got a pretty decent chance. It doesn't hurt that I'm also an open winner in
Yeah.
senior doubles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
So, but as far as you know, hardcore step by step. This is what you've got to do to requalify. Nobody knows. They haven't really came out with anything yet on that.
Okay. So what, for advice for maybe like a tiered 4 or 5 that's trying to improve their game, what advice do you give as far as like practicing what to maybe to practice on, what to focus on? What advice would you give as a
Uh,
pro?
eh,
As a
you know,
pro,
man,
hey.
it's sort of funny because I go down to Rock Hill. I'm Mike Anderson. I come back from Rock Hill. I'm a pro. And now everybody's like, "Oh, well, you're a pro. You're a pro. You should beat you. You're not gonna be able to beat him." He's like, "Dude, I'm the same person I was last week." You know, but you know, uh, you got to work on probably about 3 or 4 things. I think the most important thing is, and this is going to sound basic as hell, but it's really, for a lot of people, it's not that simple. But you've got to start with keeping your bags on the board, man. You got to keep your bags on the board. They don't necessarily have to go into the hole, but you have to keep them on the board. Uh, and I think that's what, when I look back, that's the primary thing that turned it around for me
Okay.
was, you know, focusing on keeping them on the board. Uh, the second thing, I'm going to tie numbers 2 and 3 together. The second and third things are, one, don't get tied to a specific set of bags, and don't get tied to a specific side of the board, because I can tell you, when you go to these opens and stuff like that, uh, you don't know. It's like Forrest Gump. It's a box of chocolates, man. You don't.
You know what you're gonna
Yeah,
get.
like in Las Vegas, I took 2 sets of bags. They stayed in my suitcase all weekend. I didn't get to throw them. So you have to develop your ability to throw as many different bags as possible. In my opinion, if you're a player and you can shoot, you can shoot. The bags are irrelevant. The bags are just a tool. It's like a carpenter, you know.
Just what you
He's
prefer.
not he's not tied to a specific type of hammer. I mean, I'm sure he has his favorite hammer, but he can use any hammer. And it's the same thing in cornhole. You need to be able to throw different types of bags. And you know, and don't be tied to the side of the board. Even to this day, I run into people. When I play in a blind draw and I draw a partner, my first question is, okay, what side of the board you
Hmm.
want? You know,
Yeah.
because I know some people, they're tied to a side of the board. Well, I throw better inside. Okay, not a problem. You know,
Hmm.
so keep your bags on the board. Throw different types of bags. Don't get tied to the side of the board. But the most important thing is you got to work on your mental game. You know, uh, mental to again, using golf as the analogy, golf is 90% mental, and I'm thoroughly convinced that cornhole is the same thing, because you can see it in some players, particularly tier 3, maybe some newer tier 4, but uh, maybe not a lot. But when you start to get to tier 2 and tier 3, you can see when people get into certain situations, they 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 just lose it. They don't know how to respond, you know, and they haven't learned to really understand that you can only control so much. Once you let the bag go during a throw, it's over. You can't do shit about it. If it goes off the board or goes in the hole, it doesn't matter, right?
Hmm.
The only thing you can control is what happens up to that point of throwing and releasing
Release
the
it.
bag. So you have to learn to trust your throw and trust the process, but more importantly, let shit go, man. If a bag goes off the board or it doesn't go in the hole or whatever, okay, fine, it happened. Let it go, because it's over. You can't do shit about it. And you can't. You, you have to be strong mentally, man. You can't be afraid. You know, some people get caught up. I've got this new phrase, and I think Tony Cooper. Tony, shout out to you. I think Tony Cooper is the one that said it. He said, "Hey, man, play the game and not the name," and that makes so much
Man,
sense to me,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because I remember
yeah,
back in the day, I would, man, if I went up against a Matt Morton or a Caleb Ward or somebody like that, man, I'd get nervous and shit, and you know, and it's almost like they had beaten me before we even started the game,
man.
and that's probably one of the biggest things mentally that people need to learn is who you're throwing against has absolutely nothing to do with your game. Nothing. You know, I could throw against you. I could throw against you. I could throw against Gabe Clausen or Jamie Graham. It doesn't matter. But my game is solely dependent on what I
Mm,
do,
facts.
right?
Yes, sir.
And
Facts.
so that's where I have, and even to this day, you know, if I'm playing a big name, I'm like, play the game, not the name. Just play your game, you know. So I think out of those four things, the biggest thing, the most important thing to me is the mental part of it. Uh, I mean, I could see. I mean, take last night for example. We're playing singles, so I have to play Robert Stratoff, Jay Pato, Wayne Irby, Robert Stratoff, right?
That's a good little
Every
lineup.
dude, every single game. I'm not exaggerating. I'll show you the stats. Every single game, I'm playing from behind, right?
Hmm.
In the championship game, Rob Stratoff was up on me 10-0. Wayne Irby was up on me 13-2 or something, some shit like that. Most people would have folded. It's over, the game's over, type of thing. But because of the way that I now view things and have been able to work on my mental game and the way that I am mentally, I knew that it, until it's 21 and they click submit, it's not over, right? Because I have found out, I was telling my wife this last night, I have found out that in every single cornhole game, something happens that switches the momentum from one player to the other. And when that happens, if you have the skills and abilities physically and you're mentally strong enough to take advantage of that, that's when you turn the tides and you can win the game.
Because just like any other sport, you can feel the momentum shift in the game. You can.
Yeah. And if I go back to the game with Wayne Irby, uh, the momentum shift when he missed this airmail drag. He shot it. It went off the back of the board, and I ended up getting 2 or 3 points. And that's when I felt the shift. You know, um, Robert Stratoff in the championship game. It's really funny. He he got me the first game. I mean, he kicked my ass. It was 24-10. Because he was blocking me, right? And giving you guys the pointers, those of you that are going to play me, if you want to beat me, block me. I mean, this guy was doing a really good job of blocking me and stuff like that. Second game started out the same thing. He jumps out to a 10-point lead after 5 rounds. I said, don't you have the balls to run bags with me? Because I'll run bags with anybody, right? And he tried it. And the second round that he tried it, his bags kicked, and that's when the momentum shift, and he didn't score another point, you know. But had I not worked on my mental game the way that I have over the past year, because I do a lot of self talk, I do a lot of reflection and introspection, I pray a lot, I do a lot of self talk, and I try to prepare myself mentally for each game. And had I not done that and become stronger mentally, I would have probably went 0-2 last night, you know. Um, so yeah, work on your mental game. Keep the bags on the board, but work on your mental game. Because I mean, you know how to throw. You know how to throw. Most people know how to throw. But what kills them is
Yeah,
this,
it
right?
is.
So
That, like you said, that pressure situation when you give up a big round, now it comes back to you, and how do you respond?
Dude, I want to tell you something on that line. So after I won the Vegas Open, I work from home, right? So I spend a lot of time by myself. And so I spent a lot of time thinking. And after the Vegas Open, that sort of opened my eyes because, I've been suffering from imposter syndrome since I became a pro. Because, you always hear these little rumblings in the background. Oh, you're a pro? How did you become a pro? Blah, 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 blah. And so I sort of been suffering from imposter syndrome. Well, maybe I really don't belong, you know? And I get out to Las Vegas, and not only am I competing with some of the best players in the nation on the senior tour, I'm beating them,
Yeah.
right? And so uh, after I won the senior open, I'm like, there's nothing, there's nothing preventing me from winning states. There's nothing preventing me from going down to Rock Hill in August and winning a world championship. And so I've been going through this visualization thing, right? And trying to visualize certain scenarios and certain shots. And I came up with this visualization, uh, and I play it in my mind over and over every day. Uh, but the visualization is I'm down 20-19, right? I've got the last bag, and I can do one of three things. I can board it for a point. I can try an airmail and miss for a wash, or I can try an airmail and hit it for the win, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have played that scenario over in my mind hundreds and hundreds of times since Las Vegas. And I didn't realize this until this afternoon. But last night in the first game against Robert Stradiff, 20-19, he's got a bag left. I've got a bag left. He throws his bag, tries an airmail, it goes off the board. I'm downstairs at Vanguard. All these people are upstairs looking down over the rails, right? And Dave Morton.
Mm-hmm.
I look up at
Big
Dave.
Dave.
I said, "What's it look like?" He goes, he goes, the back of the hole is, he said, the hole is wide open. He goes, you can board it for a point. I said, no, fuck this. I'm ending this game right now. And I hit the airmail. I win the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this afternoon, it dawned on me that it was that exact same scenario that I had visualized over and over and over and over, and it came to fruition. And I was like, holy shit, man, this visualization thing really works, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all part of the mental side of cornhole. Now, some people will be like, man, that's a bunch of bullshit. You're taking it too serious, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, maybe I am, dude. I'm a pro. I'm proud to be a pro, man. And I want to take the fullest advantage of being a pro as I can, and if that calls for me to visualize situations and shots and scenarios to try to make my game better so that in the future I can make better decisions in my shot selection and stuff like that, so be it. Has nothing to do with you. So
Right.
stay out of
No.
my business. But yeah, man, that mental game to me, talking about going back to the tier threes and tier fours, the mental game is the key. It's I can't stress that enough. If you really want to do something with your game and you want to advance and make progress and win titles and stuff like that, you have got to be strong mentally. You
Yeah.
know. So yeah, that's probably what I would tell somebody.
Okay. One last question. So you're the El Capitan of the Virginia Snipers. So how did you come to get that? So how did you join the Snipers? How did all that how did all that come about? How did all that come
Dude,
about?
it's a story, man. I remember because when I first started playing in the regionals, I don't know, man, 2022, maybe 2023. All you saw was snipers, right? There was no bag man, there's no fifth, there's no bagging apes, there's nothing, right? Matter of fact, Andre and Sweat are the co-founders of the snipers.
Okay.
And they would come to these regionals. They have on these sniper shirt, and I've always been a part of a team and growing up and all of my other
Military,
sports and stuff. And so I went up to Sweat one day in a regional, and I was like, "Hey, man," I said, "I'd really like to be a part of the snipers. How do I do that?" Right? And he gave me this. Well, I don't know. I have to get approval because this is what we. They originally, a lot of people don't know this. They originally created the snipers that because they live, out Franklin area.
Mm-hmm.
They originally created the snipers as a way to help underprivileged children in their neighborhood to learn the game of cornhole and get them off the streets.
Okay.
I don't I don't think the original intent was to become this full blown, Southern Virginia recognized cornhole team.
Right.
And so when I was talking to Sweat about being a sniper, he gave me that story. He's like, "Yeah, so I don't know, I have to get." So then I started looking around and I was like, "Yeah, they just don't want any white people on there." Because I mean, because I was narrow-minded, back then, and so you fast forward to the spring of 2023, and me and Billy Beverly win the regional in competitive. Fast forward to October 2023, the first regional of the year. Me and Billy win doubles in at the regional and competitive. So 2 regionals within 6 months. Well, after the next regional, Sweat came up to me. He said, "Hey, man," he goes, "I want you to know I've been watching you. I like the way your game has been going." He goes, "I like your presence online. You're positive. You're trying to build people up and stuff like that." Because, by then I was a full-fledged director and people liked my posts and my write-ups and stuff. And I was getting some positive feedback. And he goes, "Man, I just want you to know," he goes, "you're a sniper." Right. I was like, holy shit. And, at the time, it was just another one of those surreal moments because it's something that I really wanted to be a part
Right.
of,
No.
because like I said, my whole life I had been a part of a team, softball, football, but whatever. And so I became a sniper and was really took it seriously, man, and started promoting it, and posting about it. And uh, the following, then in 2024, he came up to me at the first regional, and or before the first regional. He goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "I just want you to know," he goes, "you're going to be the captain." Right? Holy shit.
I'm the captain.
And again, if you think about it, man, what does that mean, right? But to me, it meant a lot.
Yeah, no, you're the face. You're
Yeah,
the face of the brand. You're the face. You're the face of the brand.
yeah,
Yeah, that means a lot. That means something.
yeah, dude. I went so far as to get me one of those captain's patches, and I put it on my jersey.
He has one too.
And
I'm the captain.
it's not like I'm exerting any authority over anybody or anything like that.
No,
But yeah, that's how I.
no. You're the face of the franchise.
That's how I became the sniper and how I ended up being the captain. Now, I will admit, sorry, Sweat, I've sort of fallen off this season. Posting everything and staying on top of it like I have before. But I do talk to Sweat periodically, and we're still good. There was a time there where I wanted to branch away and build Legends Cornhole, but I will always be a sniper, man. And I remember asking you one time about FITH, and you go, "Man, you're already a sniper," blah 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 type of thing.
But see, I didn't know you was. I thought you was. I didn't know what you.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't. But I remember you said, man, because you had asked me, so you did the same thing. So is FITH only with black people? No, man.
Well,
no.
at that time though, you didn't have Josh Farrow and all
we
those.
did. No, we were still building.
Yeah,
We were still growing. You know,
but yeah, that's how it happened. And the cool thing is, if you fast forward to right now, they're creating these teams for Battle of the Clubs and
right,
uh,
right, right,
the
right.
states. And when Tim Nunez, who's putting the teams together, he created. You can have one super team, and then you can have 4 whatever teams.
Right, yeah, something, yeah.
And dude, I don't know if you saw it. Our super team is
I haven't seen
phenomenal.
any of the teams.
So the super team is me, Gabe Clausen, Anthony Eastridge, uh, Greg Kloster, Tony Cooper, and Chris Michaels.
Damn.
Right. So Tim sent me the list the other day, and I looked at it and I was like, "Holy shit! What does that say by my name?"
The captain.
The captain. So I don't know what he chose, what parameters he used to choose me, but in probably an overall scheme of things, it doesn't mean shit. But to me, it means something.
Man, you the pro. You the no, yeah. Why wouldn't you be the captain of that team? No, now Gabe, the best junior player there is on the pro. I mean, in the game right now. Yeah, but you still hold rank.
I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
That, and it's a responsibility. Maybe other people don't see it, but you put it on yourself. To make sure everything's just together, everybody's straight. Little small thing.
I like being the person that people sort of look to make sure that we're where we're supposed to be, that the team is playing who it's supposed to play, all those types of things. I like having that responsibility. I have no issues at all of making decisions, and if the shit hits the fan, owning
Taking
it.
the responsibility.
But I also have no issues at all of the other side. When things go good.
Oh yeah. But you're supposed to, man. That's both ends of it, man.
But here's the thing, and this is the way. And I took this from, I think it was Bill Belichick. He said this as a coach, but I sort of look at it the same way as a captain. And when we do good, when the team does good, when the snipers do good, when the super team does good, the players, right?
Yeah.
But when the shit hits the fan, it's on the captain.
It's me.
Right? And I want that responsibility because I know that with me having that responsibility, I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that shit does not hit the fan. Right? I don't want to put that on anybody else's hands.
Right. No, I feel completely.
So that's how, and again, I don't know what Sweat used to name me as the captain of the Snipers. I don't know what Tim used to name me as the captain of the super team, but I dig it and I want that responsibility and I don't mind having it, man. I own it.
Well, when we had the call out, I know why I picked you. Baited you.
Because you knew I would respond for one.
Number one. And I knew, man, I just knew. I didn't think you would take it too. So once you found out what it was and you didn't, and you saw what it was, I knew you would play along. Or I would think you would want to play. What we did, like that. That was fun. That was fun. That was different. It was fun. I appreciate you playing along. Like we enjoyed. Like we want to do something like that again. Maybe something like with all the teams or something. But definitely, like I appreciate the banter back and forth.
Absolutely, man. It was a blast. The only thing I didn't like about it is you guys chose my partner, man. But
but the reason why I chose, like I told, like even Kenny didn't even know this till I had told him even recently. Steve was the very first person I went against in my first tournament at Tradition. So that was that was me picking Steve on that one. That's why I picked Steve.
It's interesting because leading up to that, which by the way, that was a great success, man. I don't know what kind of feedback you guys got,
Man,
but we got, but after that, I was, because we talked about this because because in my very egotistical way of looking at things, right? All clubs today were born from the snipers. You know, I'm not saying they're a derivative of the snipers, but I think people saw what the snipers were and wanted to make their own in their own image, right? So that's why you have Fifth and Bag Bandits and Baggin' Apes, and you got
I'm gonna tell you what got me
what
started.
what's a group over in North
Backyard
Backyard
Assassins.
Assassins, River
River City.
City. You
I'm gonna
know,
tell you what got me was that whoever was the four horsemen when I first started. That's what
oh, that's
that was.
me, Billy, Beverly, Adam Zahara, and Chris Michaels.
That's what got me. I seen somebody with a four. Oh man, because I was thinking, ooh, I'd already thought of something. Like, ooh, NWO. I was like, oh, well, I can't go, can't copy y'all, can't NWO four horsemen, can't do that. So I gotta figure something out. But that's what really got me in the club, and then I seen the snipers after that, and then they do have clubs. So yeah,
Yeah, after our battle, man. Again, I probably went a little bit overboard, taking things too seriously. But I made a video and I called out the Bag Bandits. You know, and I even said, okay, this person from the Snipers is going to be playing this person from the Bag Bandits. And I had it matched up. And then I called out uh, um, Bag and Apes running around the Backyard Assassins. You know, and then I started getting all this pushback. Well, how do you determine who's playing who and blah 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 and all this? And finally, I said, "Fuck it, man. If you're gonna make it that difficult, dude, it's just not
not
that.
even worth it.
It's not worth it."
Not even worth it.
But
Fuck it.
the way you guys did it, capturing a sniper and shit and putting it online.
And people still ask us today who was
Oh,
that
I know
guy.
who it was, dude. I'm not going to reveal who it is, but I know who it is.
But yeah, no, we were just, and man, I didn't know, we didn't know, we hope we didn't offend it. We were just like,
Yeah,
man, what's something different?
yeah, it was awesome, man. It was
What's
awesome.
something different?
Cause you guys knew I wasn't gonna let that shit go, right?
No, that's man. That was our whole man. That was our whole point. That was our whole thing, man. How can we turn this up a little bit? How can we, just get people talking? Let's get one.
Yeah, and
Let's.
then we announced it. Then you made the flyer, with us facing each other. And then you guys captured a sniper, and I always put that video out there, and it was great, dude. There were a lot of people there. I don't know if you guys recall it, man, but that place
No,
was packed,
what
man.
the very first
The
one
very first one,
was
yeah,
that was
it
like
was
a
crazy,
event. It
yeah.
was an
It
event.
and to me, that's what it should be about,
Yes, sir.
is friendship and camaraderie and good times and bantering back and forth as long as it doesn't get personal, you know. But cornhole today, dude, is just
Too
it,
serious, man.
it's not just it's just drama. It's like as the world turns, cornhole edition. Uh,
As the bags
yeah,
throw.
as the bags spin, yeah. But there's and I'll be honest with you, dude. I think that's why you've seen numbers like mine at Vanguard drop off, but the numbers at Hosses and TJs and places like that increase. So they just don't care. They just want to get together, drink beer, and play cornhole.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my events, fortunately or unfortunately, are for ACL points, and there's some people out there that point shit is means a lot, and they take that shit serious. And I sort of blame myself for creating that beast at Vanguard, uh, for putting so much emphasis on it and publicizing how well people are throwing. Because I've had so many. Because like I'll look at the people that go to TJs and I'll look at the people that go to Hosses and stuff, and I'm like, man, these people used to come to Vanguard all the time, and you know, at Vanguard, it wasn't unusual to have 40, 50 people. You know, I think one time we had, when we did the benefit for, what's his name that passed away?
Um,
Was it not CW?
no,
The
the young guy,
Aaron,
Aaron.
When Aaron West passed away, you know, we had, you know, 75 people at that benefit.
I was there.
Uh, but you know, I was publicizing how well people were throwing. You know, Kenny was shooting the 9 PPR, and I've had people say, "Look, man, I don't come to Vanguards. I just can't compete with those guys. You know, I'm not interested in points." And so now I'm sort of at a crossroads, man, because I love the competition. I love the competition at Vanguard. I love the competition at NES and stuff like that. But man, I remember how it felt when I was first starting out and we would go to PBR or we would go to Hosses and nobody gave a shit. They just wanted to throw bags. And it was like backyard barbecue, you know, gathering with friends and stuff. That to, you know, believe it or not, that to me is what I miss. Uh, and unfortunately, you know, with the things I'm trying to accomplish on my with my pro game and stuff like that, I really don't make the time for those types of opportunities anymore.
Right. It's
You
hard
know,
to
and
fit it in the schedule.
but you know, I remember last summer after the season, after the World Championships and stuff like that. You know, we had, so it goes from August to October before everything kicks in again. And for those 2 months, man, I went to TJ's, I went to Hosses, I went to Nooners in Gloucester. You know, I went to all these places and had a blast, dude.
it's fun.
But it was really weird because it took me a while to sort of decompress from focusing on PPR and point differential and just throw the fucking bags, dude. You know, but I miss that more than anything.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. So, man, that concludes our episode with Mr. Anderson, the legend himself. Man, Mr. Anderson, I appreciate you coming on the show. We appreciate you, man. If you want, you can always come back.
Okay.
You know, you can always part to it.
I'll come back in April after I win the state championship
That's
and
what's up.
later
Yeah,
on this
update
month.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, come back when you update us when you tell us about how you qualified for the pros again.
Yeah.
That'll be
Okay.
better.
Yeah.
More stories to tell.
That's cool. Yeah. There's always stories, dude. Always stories. But yeah.
Appreciate you again, Mike.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
you.
I appreciate you having me, brother.
Always, man. Always.
Yeah, buddy.